Good evening and welcome to the Look Finance Southeast Queensland FC Preview Show with thanks to Vilic Law. Tonight we've got something a little bit different. We've got Darren and Tony as usual, but we've mixed it up a little bit and we've got Grae Piddick with us joining tonight, which is a bit of a treat. Evening, Grae.
Hi everyone, how you going?
Yeah, good. How are you, boys?
Good, thank you. Well, thank you.
That's good. We might, before we get into formalities, we might have a bit of a chat with Grae and go through a few things and see where he's at these days, and then we'll look into some of the exciting football coming up this weekend. Grae, how you been?
Yeah, look, it's been an interesting week and a bit. It's been surprisingly, despite the fact I haven't been out taking any training sessions, surprisingly busy. Week and a half, lots of phone calls, lots of messages, lots of time spent doing things that I normally wouldn't be doing. I folded a lot of clothes already, and I've done the dishes or stacked the dishwasher a few times, too many times for my liking already. So it's a bit different.
No, it's clearly putting more use to yourself than I do in my home.
Yeah. Well, it's as soon as I've got a bit of time on my hands, there's no messing around at home. It's I think it's probably the hardest job in the world. Looking after the kids, so I don't know how my wife, does it. So she's making the most of me being home a bit more at the moment. So fair enough.
It's good to hear you keeping busy. Is there, talking about that, is there much in the future for you yet, or are you just gonna have a little bit of a break for the time being?
Yeah, look, it's just a matter of seeing what happens. Obviously, for me, I still want to coach. I'm not going to sort of let this little setback deter me too much. Disappointing, but is what it is. And I think everyone's probably aware of some of the situations. So I think certainly I want to get back into it, and depending on what that looks like, time will tell. I'm still involved with the under-9s at nights. My son's in one of the teams there, and I've been working with them with one of the sessions during the week, and then looking after them on game days. So that's still plenty of fun, and it's a good bunch of boys. So that'll keep me busy over the next few weeks anyway.
Grae, did you watch the game on the weekend?
Not really. I saw a little bit of it in between watching Frozen and a few other things. So I saw a little bit of the game, probably about 20, 25 minutes, second half. So I saw some of the goals go in. And didn't see any of the first half.
Did you see much difference in how they played to how they do for you?
Nah. Look, it was going to be similar. I expect, unless they decide to go and make a few changes, but the players are the same essentially. There's a few more coming back. That was probably the only difference really. Jaden Walker was back in from injury, and Nick Panetta played. He was starting to build some fitness after coming back from suspension and sort of being away. And they're obviously high quality players. So I think the team will still definitely do well. There's no doubt about that, and I think they're only going to get better once they start to build in as a unit, and they've got the full squad coming back in now. And I think Ross Archibald will make a massive difference, and already has. He played his first game when I was still there for the Wanderers, and from what I saw, he was better for the run against Capalaba. Just someone that can organise things at the back, and I think he'll make a big difference moving forward as well.
Grae, for yourself, looking to the future, I think I always notice your career because it kind of has to intertwine with mine at times, and you've had a lot of success, over the past 5 or 6 years with Palm Beach, with Gold Coast City, now with Knights obviously coming to an end. What's the ambition? Is it do you think you'd look for clubs outside of Queensland, or even if the opportunity come knocking, looking for a position in a professional club?
Oh, look, I think I definitely would like to push into that professional environment, given if it's the right fit. There's a lot of professional jobs out there, or full-time football coaching jobs that aren't necessarily the right fit. But if it was the right fit, that's something I'd look at. Moving interstate is again something, for me. I've got a family. I've got 4 kids. I've got a good job where I am. And we do live on the Gold Coast, which is a great place to live. So when you're looking at, interstate or, overseas options, as some have been mentioned, it's just a matter of whether it's the right fit or not. If it's the right fit and it's the right opportunity, yeah, I'm definitely keen. And if not, then I'll wait for the right fit or the right opportunity. That's no problem.
Oh, fantastic. We might roll into it and get some of your opinions, boys, before we get on. Any other questions for Grae outside of the league?
Just have you been in touch with your brother, and how's he coping with all that's going on in Victoria?
Yeah, he's pretty bored. He sends me. He's running half marathons every second day, and sends me, how far he's been running and for how long, and maybe I should flick that to the Victorian Police because he's definitely out longer than an hour. But I think he's a bit bored, but he's hanging in there, and same for him. He's sort of starting to get their plans ready for next season and try and put a few things in place. So I'm sure that'll keep him busy. And we both were on the pro license course, so we've got a few tasks that we've got to do for that to finish all that off. So that's sort of in the process at the moment. He's been able to use this time to do most of his. I've done a few, and now that I've got a bit more time, I can hopefully finish it off in the next few weeks.
Positive news. We might move on to the league for the weekend, and while I've got your expertise, see what you think about the matches. Obviously, before we jumped on the call, I think, Darren, you called out first game of the weekend, kicking off at 4:30 on Saturday, is Gold Coast United playing Olympic. So Gold Coast United are currently sitting 7th, Olympic in 3rd. Grae, what are your thoughts on this match? Bit of a sleeper, possibly?
Oh, look, yeah. Where is it? Is it Gold Coast or is it an Olympic?
So I believe is it Coplic Reserve down at
Coplic, yeah. Oh, I might even go and watch that one since it's close. Look, I think they're always difficult, these midweek rounds, and then backing up and playing your 3rd game in a week. So even tonight you can see there's a few possible upsets on the cards and a few unexpected results at half time. So whenever there's 3 games in a week, it always throws up a few odd upsets. So I wouldn't be surprised if Gold Coast United, potentially cause an upset or get a draw out of that game, just because of the whole midweek scenario and Olympic having to travel down. It's not the greatest of pitches to play on. So Olympic really like to pass the ball around and get plenty of movement. So they're going to have to be careful with that regard. They're going to have to be ready to battle as well. So I think that gives Gold Coast United a chance. Having said that, we've spoken about how good of Olympic have been of late, and they are in form. So if they can continue that on and just make sure they're able to battle in that game when they have to, then you might see Kristen Waters maybe play a little bit longer than normally, just because he's capable of doing that, particularly with balls in the box. AJ is obviously capable of dealing with that as well. So you get plenty of balls in the box from Gold Coast United. I think if they deal with that, then they can sort of open them up with their own play.
Dan, what did you see out of this game? Obviously, it caught
I just see it as a banana skin for Olympic. Gold Coast at Coplic's, tough to beat, as Grae would know. And I think their results have been quite reasonable of late. So Olympic will have to be on their game to come away with the 3 points.
Tony, what about yourself? I know you mentioned a few weeks back that Olympic required a couple of players. They seem to be clicking. Do you think you can break the stalemate with the boys?
I don't know. If Olympic play to their potential, they should win it. But it's tough down there.
I think the travel will cost them. Moving on from there, we've got a few other games on Saturday, of course. So Brisbane City take on Redlands. Redlands obviously sitting second last. Bit interesting at the moment through the table because it's a lot of congestion on from that sixth place. So you have a look. There's only 8 points separating Wanderers from that sixth place, which is or have I missed it already? Sorry, which is Moreton Bay Jets. So a bit of an interesting time at the moment, obviously with the situation around the season. Darren, what are your thoughts?
That's a tough one, mate. I'd probably defer to Grae's knowledge on this one, but it probably just takes City simply because they're at home. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Grae?
Yeah, you're right. It is a tough one. But I think City are trying to play some good football, and Redlands definitely since COVID have made themselves tougher to beat. They're definitely not a lot more compact. Really trying to make it difficult for teams to break them down. So it'll be a challenge for City. They've certainly got it in them, I think. But I think one of their areas of concern is probably scoring goals as well, Brisbane City. The question will really be the first goal. So since COVID, Redlands have managed to sneak an early goal quite early in a few matches, and then you've got something to defend, you've got something to motivate yourself. So I expect City to be too good. But again, I think with midweek matches and players, how well do they back up? If Redlands can jag one early, then the lock goes in front of the gate, and then they just try to hang on.
Interesting pick. That could change some positions in the ladder for sure. Moving on, Grae, probably the game you'll probably have the most expertise in. 6:30 Knights at home against Brisbane Strikers. Obviously, we've seen a couple of teams have some issues with strikers and trying to hold them out. I don't know if ninth place reflects where they're playing at the moment. How do you think this game might end up?
Yeah, again, it'll be a tough one, I think. The big advantage for Knights is they don't play tonight, so they have the bye. So whereas a few weeks ago, sort of the tables were turned a little bit when Knights played Wanderers. Wanderers had the bye during the week. Knights are on their third game. When you're not playing midweek and the other team is, you've got the whole week to prepare. I think that makes a massive difference, particularly at this time of year. So Strikers have got a ding-dong battle tonight. They're going all right at the moment, but I'm sure it'll take it out of them. That's for they're playing at Lions, big pitch. Lions do try to put you under a lot of pressure, so the physical toll is definitely there. I expect Knights to win based on the fact that they're fresh. The four in midfield do cause some teams some trouble, definitely, that strikers play. But I think the Knights will be too fresh, and I think they'll just run over the top of them purely from freshness. And a few more players who came back last week against Capalaba, they'll be better for the run. So I think they'll be even better this week.
Yeah, obviously, moving on to the next game, East are one of the other clubs that don't have a midweek game tonight. They're up against Capalaba. Interesting segue, tying up from what you just mentioned. This is kind of one of those old BPL clashes that was always one of those games of the round going back a decade or so. Bit strange. Both these clubs sit in 11th for East and 10th for Capalaba. Obviously, Capalaba got the quick goal against Knights, and East have been travelling pretty well. Any thoughts on that, boys?
I might have a crack at that one. I think
here will utilise.
Yeah. I think off the back, if East aren't playing tonight, I think they'll just run over the top of Capalaba. Capalaba, look, to be honest, they played a lot of games. I know against Knights, that was their fifth game in a fortnight. And then they're playing again tonight as well. So, and the second half, against Knights, they did look very fatigued after about sort of 60, 65. They just looked like they stopped. They were done. So, I think they're going to find that real tough to then play again midweek tonight again and then play again on the weekend when it's a team who's going to be fresh. And it's a big game for both teams. If they can get a win there, they can sort of push away from the bottom. So I expect Wanderers to pick up more points. So I think Capalaba, just off the back of being quite fatigued and a large number of games, more than any other team over this period, I think they might just struggle just based on that.
Yeah, I think this week will be one of those weeks now that the games are starting to pile up and fatigue's becoming a factor for the teams. That's all the games for Saturday. We move on. We look at Sunday. Sunday's only got 2 fixtures. So at 3:30, there's Moreton Bay Jets versus Lions, and then Raw versus Sunshine Coast Wanderers. I think a bit of interest here. Obviously, Wanderers are becoming a bit of a thorn in the side of a few teams at the moment. They hold Gold Coast United to a draw on the weekend. Raw's hovering in that 5th spot, so obviously there's starting to be space opening up there. Is it possibly time maybe for Sunshine Coast to close the gap at the bottom and maybe jump up a bit and get out of that last spot?
Well, I think it's definitely an opportunity for them. There's no doubt about that. They've obviously the last 2 matches have had a win and a draw. So I'm sure they'll have some confidence going into that game. The Raw themselves, we played the Raw a few weeks back, and I was quite impressed with how they played, to be honest. I think normally you'd say Raw will go really well, particularly on a Sunday, but obviously Sunshine Coast are used to that themselves. So I think it'll be another close one, and I think I'm sort of tipping the Wanderers to get a win there.
Interesting call. Obviously, the other games, Jets versus Lions. Your brother's old club, they're always in it for a battle. Do you think they can take it to the current league leaders?
Yeah, well, the last few games they've done all right. Moreton Bay, they've gone in waves. They've had a few good results and then a few in a row where they haven't been too flash, and they're on a bit of a run again. So yeah, if they can maintain that consistency of when they play well, then they can cause upsets here and there. But I think Lions, however, are starting to flex their muscles. Again, they got a few players coming back, a few players that have sort of joined a few weeks back who are starting to settle in. So I think they'll have too much to play for, and I think they'll be too good, to be fair.
Do you think, obviously, A-League's wrapped up now, and with the releases from Raw, do you think Danny Kim returning back from loan, he's going to be a bit of help, obviously, to Lions stocks coming into the back half of this season?
Yeah, for sure, and he's so crucial to how they play and how they control games in possession. So it's been an area for them where I think they've struggled a little bit, hence some of the results. But I think when he comes in, and I'm sure he'll come straight back in, he'll just give them that little bit of direction. Then it pushes some of their other players a little bit higher up the park, where they can be a bit more dangerous. So, I think he'll be a major plus for him. I was quite impressed with how he played for the Raw as well. So, again, I mean, obviously I'm not making the decisions, of course, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's in and around the Raw squad once the A-League gets back in. Because I thought he was quite impressive, and a proper pre-season with the squad. I think he can maybe be one of those ones that come into the A-League from MPL and make a difference and stay there.
Yeah, just on that. Sorry to interrupt there, Joey. Just on that, Grae. The fact that Mooney's now got the job at the Brisbane Raw, does that encourage you at all, and think that maybe if the planets align for you, that you can get your shot as well?
Oh, look, yeah, you need a lot of planets to align. Getting sacked probably hasn't helped me either, of course. But, yeah, look, I wouldn't be doing this or, ambitious enough to think that, down the track, if there's an opportunity, there's no doubt that, whether that's as an assistant coach or as a head coach, and I really hope that Mooney does well, because it'll help other coaches coming through the NPL to potentially be given an opportunity. Yes, you do need the planets to align, and that's always the case with football anyway. It's right place, right time for a lot of jobs. But then you've got to go in there and do the job. And I think he's been quite impressive by all reports so far. And by the sounds of it, the players have really enjoyed him when he's come in. And so I think expect him to kick on. He's generally been successful in whatever he's done. So expect him to really kick on. I think that gives everyone else hope. I think, there's certainly enough. There's enough players that are good enough to transition into the A-League, given the right opportunity and the right amount of time. And I think, there's no doubt from a coaching point of view, I think that can certainly transfer to coaching as well. I think that the one thing with NPL coaching, and some of the coaches will let you know, is you do a lot more as an NPL coach. You don't have as many staff. But you still got to deal with, trying to be as professional as you can. So you get a good taste of a lot of different roles. So you're the head coach. You're dealing with the media. You're dealing with the players off the field, and a lot. That takes up more time than anything, half the time. You're doing the video analysis, or you're doing the opposition analysis. You're doing the sports science in my case, and you're doing some of those factors as well. So it gives you a broad understanding, just because you've got to be involved in all those facets. So I think that would actually really help you moving up to the next level as well. Just having that understanding of all those factors that come together to make a successful team.
I had a nasty rumour. I think I'll start the nasty rumour. But would you throw your hat in the ring for the Perth job? Obviously, you've seen pre-season with the Surf City Cup, and there's a vacancy there. Would you be willing to move shop for Perth?
Oh, look, if there's an A-League opportunity, again, obviously it'd have to fit. But generally speaking, you'd be pretty crazy to knock it back, I think. Hypothetically, if I was offered the Perth job, I'd be very willing to take it. They're a great club. There's a lot of good people at that club already. I think I'd be well down the pecking order, to be honest. I think there's a few boys who are already there who probably will be the ones, moving up, I would suggest. But there's a lot of good guys there, and they've run the club really well. So I think whoever they choose will do a really good job, to be honest. And I think they'll be well backed, and they'll have a great team to go out there again. It's one of those things that Perth Glory is a big club, aren't they? So I think there's plenty of coaches who put in their hat in the ring, and there's probably quite a few rumours, to be fair.
Well, that's one I'm starting, and I'll stick to it. Moving on from that, we might step down the ladder and have a look at the FQPL. Obviously, a bit shorter for fixtures. I think your old team, you finished up with Logan, didn't you, in your playing days?
That was my last couple of years. I got a few extra years of playing out of Logan, which was fantastic because I was ready to pack it in. And Croyd's sort of said, good mate of mine, look, we're going to get the seniors cranking here, and do you want to come and help out? And originally I was just going to help coach, and then I'll play. And it's one of the best things I ever did. Got an extra few years out of playing when I didn't think I would. And, the club has a really good place in my heart. Still lots of friends there. I went and watched them play last Saturday, actually, before the Sunday game at Wanderers. I was up watching Capalaba play Peninsula Power, scouting them for the following week. I didn't need it in the end, but on my way back, I dropped into Logan, and I've still got plenty of friends there, and there's a lot of great people at the club. So I really hope they do well this year and get promoted.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, big changes since you were back there. The climb that you went through with Croyd's, I know.
Yeah, for sure.
Official. Back in the day, that was one of those. Yourself and your brother playing there, and obviously Croyd's was always quite vocal. I look back, I think that's one of those lucky learning experiences we got coming through, and obviously a lot of good names coming out of that setup that have done good things as it continues rolling on.
Yeah, for sure. Like they had a good history as a junior club, producing or helping to produce a lot of really good players. And then they moved into the seniors, and over the last 10 years of the club's really kicked on, and it's a great setup. Multiple venues. The women's side of the program's going real strong. So it's one of those clubs. I think if they can make that jump, they've just sort of fallen short the last couple of years, but if they can make that jump up into the MPL and get promoted, then I think they're one of the clubs that once they get there can go even higher with how they're set up. So fingers crossed for them that they can do that. They've got a bit of work to do, but I think they got the squad and they got the coach to do it.
Yeah, not to take any air out of the balloon. I know I was speaking with Darren earlier, and he was mentioning obviously a club he wanted to touch on this week. Was a game Saturday night at 7. Pride, well, we'll see how this goes ahead with current events, but Pride to take on Thunder. Thunder obviously sitting top of the table. Darren, what are you thinking of Thunder?
I just want to give them some praise, mate. They were my smokies at the beginning of the year, but that was just for top 4. They're going great guns, and from all the reports that I hear from the opposition coaches, they win because they have the best team. They're playing the best football. Their side's pretty stable from last year. They've added a few. They've and they're going great guns. And I'm just so happy for the regional clubs to be doing well. I think it's great for the competition.
I don't know if anyone else got that feedback, but I take a lot of positivity out of it.
Yeah, there might be a bit of interference there.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But I think I got to see.
Good.
They're good. Thunder's good. Obviously, that game providing events going ahead. Thunder playing away from Pride. That's 1v4 on Saturday 7. How are we going? Can we hear us? Outside of that, Tony, the game you put for us. 6 o'clock is Southside Eagles versus Mitchie. They're sitting, I believe. Do you think they've got the legs to catch up to the other teams?
I think Mitchell should win this one very, very comfortably.
Well, we got it.
We're breaking up, boys.
Breaking up. You're clear for me. Yes.
All right?
Yeah, good.
Seems a bit better.
Just hold that spot.
Don't move.
So you
So
think?
I think you're right. You think Mitchie will be too good, eh?
Yeah, I think they'll win comfortably. The Southside Eagles have struggled in every game they played the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, actually, I was up on Sunday for the Knights under-9s playing Southside Eagles, and I ran into Jared Lane, who's the head coach, and someone I played with probably 20 years ago, something like that. And he was saying, they're a good bunch of boys. They're very young, and they're working real hard. But coming up against some quality teams on occasions, and it could be a bit difficult for them. So some big tests he mentioned in the next few weeks with a really young side. They're really committed, but it's also turning that into a few 16, 17-year-olds running out there, and that's great experience for them. But you might find that some of the other sides, particularly the ones with a bit more experience, might be too strong.
I think them, yeah.
Match of the weekend for me is Friday night, Wolves up against Ipswich Knights. I think Matt Chandler's starting to turn that ship around now out at Carmichael Park, and we might see Wolves get on a bit of a march.
Yeah, I think that's one of the few Friday games this weekend, so that might be worth if anyone wants to get out after work on a Friday arvo. Good one to drop out and check out. Outside of that, rounding out the FQPL this weekend, Saturday at 5, we got Souths versus Holland Park, and then the other game for the round is Rochdale versus Sunshine Coast Fire. That's at 6:30 on Saturday night at Rochdale. So I think the other thing, I was at Rochdale this past weekend, and they had a little bit of a delay. I think they may even have their new facilities open this weekend, so that might be worth checking out. Looks pretty good what's set up down there. It's good little upgrade for the area.
Yeah, it should be great. Looking forward to Rovers hosting games.
Yeah, and obviously not using the rugby sheds across the road for the long walk to the kickoff.
Definitely.
We might see we're a bit pressed on time. We might see what we can do and touch on the best of what's in the Brisbane leagues. I think coming out BPL this weekend, there's an interesting fixture. Obviously, St. George are pulling ahead on top. They're first. They actually play Caboolture. They're currently 12th, so that's a bit of an interesting game. They'll sit there first v 12. I don't know how that'll go, but I believe there might be a couple of goals in that one, boys.
9-0.
9-0.
It's strange because these two clubs have had such a great rivalry over the past few years as they both marched up the leagues together. But now it's first versus last with St. George flying and Caboolture in real all sorts. So, Tony may not be too far wrong there.
Caboolture were Caboolture, and now Caboolture become the Narangba, so that's what the difference is.
Yeah, well, we'll touch on Narangba in a bit, of course. They're following similar form to St. George at the moment by the looks of it. But I think that might be an interesting fixture. Obviously, St. George currently sit unbeaten in the BPL. They are 2 points ahead of the pack. So second place, which is Grange, sitting on 16 points. So I think that might be a bit of an interesting weekend. I'd be interested to see how St. George feel the team coming into this fixture. Sitting down next to that, obviously, we got Cap 1. So Cap 1, having a look through there, this is probably the most competitive league in Brisbane at the moment. So we've got Sanford and Brisbane Athletic. They both sit on 14 points. I believe, from my understanding, one goes up, one goes down. This might be the best battle in Brisbane to try and see how competitive it is to actually get into the BPL this year. So I think with those ones, obviously Sanford, they take on Ipswich City. So once again, this is one of those interesting fixtures that might be impacted by the announcement of the Ipswich school student that's being called out with COVID over the last few days. So keep posted in terms of that stuff. And if you are going to fields, just remember to use your QR codes to help with tracking. Moving, Tony, Cap 2, did you get out to Pine Hills on Sunday?
Yes, I did.
How'd it go? Did they get up?
No, they won 5-1. They was for the 20 minutes in the first half. Ripley, whatever they were called, were right in the game. But then they had a player sent off. I don't think that would have made a difference towards the end because it was already 2-1 up. And then 3 minutes after half time, Pine Hill scored again, and that was all over at Rover. Finished up 5-1.
I know we've probably spoken about this each week. Tony, do you think that's the league for Cap 2? Do you think Pine Hills can now concentrate on being the Invincibles for Cap 2? Can Leo do it?
I've always said that it's theirs to lose.
Actually, I got a message during the week from Chinga talking about how good Pine Hills is and the boys there, and he reckons it's the place to be, and they're moving on up, and it won't be long before they're in the NPL actually. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. I remember them from quite a few years back, and yeah, it's good to see them still going strong and having some success.
It's a good vibe of the club. It's a good vibe. Leo is getting people back into the club.
That's great.
A bit of entertainment and things like that. It's exactly what it did in Mitchelton all those years ago.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, because they've been around a long time. It's a horrendous drive from the Gold Coast. I remember that, but it was always tough to go there and play.
Go to the Chinka track there from the Gold Coast.
Yeah, it's a long one.
Yeah.
I think that'll that might even wrap it up, but for Cap 2, but it'd be interesting. Obviously, Ripley, I think they dropped back. I think that's 5 points behind now, and obviously Pine Hill sits 7 from 7 for wins. So it's interesting to see that comp come through. And then wrapping up, we might have a look. Obviously, Cap 3 from there. I think bit interesting at the moment. Obviously, Narangba, Tony, you mentioned them earlier. They put a bit of points against Springfield. They're 5 points ahead of second place Springfield at the moment, but Springfield still have a game in hand. Do you think these guys might find their way over the next few years against Pine Hill, seeing that both of them seem to be the dominating forces across a couple of leagues?
Well, they'll meet in the Premier League in 4 years' time. It's how long it takes to get up, whatever, to get promoted every year.
We'll see that when it happens. If not, we might have Pine Hills in the NPL by then, if that's the rumour.
That's the rumour, yeah. That's the rumour. Chinga's sprouting that one.
Yeah, Chinga's already on the bandwagon. Yeah,
he's onto it.
Yeah, that's right. And if Chinga says that he's right.
That's right. It'll come true.
Yeah, that's right. The Nostradamus of football Brisbane.
So obviously with Cap 3, there's probably 2 games to watch this weekend. So Springfield, that second place, will be taking on 12th place Tiviot, and then Narangba first will be taking on Brighton on Sunday at 6 p.m. So Brighton's sitting in 9th. So that should be what I believe will be points for both of those clubs, which will just continue that battle on top of the league. That's the Brisbane leagues for the week, boys. Just before we go, anyone got anything to add before the weekend?
I just want to pick out a couple of games there. Jimboomba are playing Logan Village in Cap 3. That's a local derby. They've both got birds in their club badges. They need to come up with a name for their derby. I don't know what it is, but that's for them to decide. Also wanted to give a shout out with Metro playing Ripley Valley this weekend. Of course, those two clubs were in Cap 3 last season, so it'd be good to compare how they go this season compared to last. In Cap 2, where was it? Where was the game? UQFC up against the Lakes. I reckon that'll be a fascinating contest. And in the BPL, Toowong up against Taringa. These two clubs are pretty close to each other. Can Toowong get it right up against Sean Karambathis, who has been scoring goals heaps? He's got 13 in 7 games, so the guy's on fire. So can Toowong stop Sean Karambathis?
I think that might be a name to note down if he's scoring that rate at the moment. That's an amazing strike rate for someone up front. Maybe couple of people might take note after this evening of that name.
You never know. You never know.
Good Greek last name. Might have to ring Mr. Ioannidis up and have a look at him.
I'm sure Tony's on Facebook now, typing the name in, finding where he is.
Yeah, that's right.
Getting on the phone with Leo.
Yeah.
But,
He's been around a while. They should know him by now.
Fair enough.
That's been a long instalment, boys. We might give it a wrap there. Once again, I'd like to thank Look Finance for supporting the SEQFC Preview Show, with thanks to Vilic Law. Again, Grae, thank you for your time. Really appreciate you coming out, obviously being quite open with us and sharing your opinion on the game.
Yeah, that's it's been good. Thank you.
Good luck with any future moves, mate.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
New Farm United are looking for a new coach, mate.
New Farm. Where's that? Sorry, where's that?
It's in the heart of Brisbane. They're
right.
Points,
of course.
rounds.
Yeah, near the valley, isn't it? That'd be near the valley.
That's it.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Yeah, you'll have to play Friday nights, surely.
Yeah.
On that, boys, Darren, thank you again. Tony, thank you.
All right. See you, gents.
Cheers, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Have a great night.